The Vrinthian royal cruiser tumbled through the asteroid field like a broken toy, its shields flickering with each impact. Inside, Princess Kaelva clutched her seat restraints, her silver scales rippling with fear. The Vrinthians were an ancient species, elegant, telepathic, and utterly unprepared for the pirate ambush that had torn through their diplomatic convoy. Luis Martinez wasn't supposed to be anywhere near the Deneb sector. The human exchange student had taken a wrong turn during his solo navigation exam, and now his tiny training shuttle was the only vessel within range of the distress beacon. "This is insane," he muttered, watching the pirates' gunships circle the damaged cruiser like vultures. 3 against 1. No weapons on his shuttle, no backup for at least 2 hours. He thought of Orla, his classmate back at the Galactic Academy. The Irish girl would have called him an Egypt for even considering what he was about to do. Then she probably would have helped him anyway. Lewis pushed the throttle forward. The Vrinthian pirates never expected a Academy training shuttle to ram straight into their formation. Lewis's vessel screamed past them, emergency thrusters burning white-hot as he executed a maneuver that violated at least 15 safety protocols. The pirates scattered, confused by the suicidal humans' tactics. "Princess Kaelva, if you can hear me, get to your escape pods now," Lewis broadcast on all frequencies. Inside the cruiser, Kaelva's telepathic senses detected something extraordinary about the human's mind. Where most species' thoughts were orderly streams, his burned like wildfire, chaotic, determined, utterly fearless. It was the mental signature of a predator species, something the Vrinthians had never evolved to become. She made her decision. "I cannot abandon my crew." "Then I'm coming to you," Lewis replied. What followed would be analyzed in tactical academies for decades. Lewis used his shuttle's magnetic grapples to attach to the cruiser's hull, then spacewalked across the exterior while the pirates regrouped. He burned through the airlock with his emergency plasma cutter, a tool meant for cutting seatbelts, not breaching spacecraft, and pulled himself inside. The cruiser's interior was a maze of crystalline corridors designed for beings who navigated partly through telepathy. Lewis had only his Academy-issue datapad and sheer stubbornness. He found Kaelva in the command chamber surrounded by her wounded guards. "You're human," she said, her voice like wind chimes. "Your species only joined the galactic community 30 years ago. Why risk your life for us?" Lewis checked his datapad. The pirates were cutting through the main door. "Because it's the right thing to do." "Now is there a back way out?" There wasn't. But there was a cargo bay, a loading mechanism, and Lewis's complete disregard for standard procedures. He rigged the bay's magnetic launcher, designed for ejecting waste containers, to fire the escape pod like a cannon. It was ridiculous. It violated every engineering principle the Academy had taught him. It worked. The pod shot through space like a bullet, tumbling wildly but clear of the pirates. Lewis had stayed behind, manually piloting the dying cruiser on a collision course with the lead pirate ship. At the last second, he ejected in a maintenance suit, his emergency beacon screaming into the void. Orla was the one who found him. 3 hours later, she'd hijacked an Academy rescue ship the moment she heard Lewis's distress signal, threatened the instructor pilot, and jumped to Deneb sector at dangerous speeds. "You absolute madman," she said, tears streaming down her freckled face as they pulled his half-frozen body into the airlock. "You beautiful, stupid, brilliant Egypt," Lewis grinned weakly. "Learned from the best." 6 months later, Princess Kaelva arrived at Earth's galactic embassy. The Vrinthian people had debated for weeks about how to properly honor the human who saved their princess. Credits seemed insulting. Titles meant nothing to a species that had barely started exploring the stars. Kaelva had studied human culture extensively, trying to understand the mind she'd touched during those desperate moments. She learned about their history, a species that had crawled from their planet's oceans, survived ice ages and wars and plagues, and still reached for the stars with optimism. They bonded not through telepathy but through action, through trust earned in fire. She understood what Lewis had done. Not just the rescue, any species could be brave. He had acted with that peculiar human certainty that the universe could be bent to their will through sheer determination. It was terrifying. It was magnificent. "Among my people," Kaelva explained to Lewis and Orla in the embassy garden, "the highest honor is to entrust someone with what we value most. Not our wealth or titles, those are temporary. But our legacy," she gestured, and 2 young Vrinthians emerged from behind her. They were juveniles, Their scales still bright with youth, their telepathic abilities just developing. These are my children, Velka and Thress. I wish for them to study at your academy, to learn from humanity, to be mentored by you, Luis Martinez, and by Orla McCarthy. Kelva's eyes shimmered with emotion. Teach them to be as brave and mad as humans. Teach them that the impossible is merely difficult. Luis looked at Orla, who was already grinning like a lunatic. The two kids looked nervous and excited, their mental projections flickering with curiosity. Your Highness, Luis said carefully, we're still students ourselves. We're not qualified to. You navigated an asteroid field in a training shuttle, rammed 3 pirate ships, and turned a waste launcher into an escape system. Kelva interrupted. If that doesn't qualify you to teach resourcefulness, nothing does. Orla laughed and elbowed Luis. She's got a point. As Luis watched Velka and Thress approach shyly, their scales rippling with the Vrinthian equivalent of a smile, he realized something profound. Humanity hadn't joined the galactic community because they were the strongest or the smartest. They'd earned their place because when the universe said something was impossible, humans had a tendency to prove it wrong. All right, he said, kneeling to meet the young Vrinthians at eye level. Lesson 1, never trust the autopilot. Lesson 2, always have a friend like Orla watching your back. And Lesson 3, Orla added, ruffling Luis's hair. Sometimes the craziest plan is the only one that works. Princess Kelva watched them, satisfied. The humans would teach her children well. After all, any species that could turn a maintenance suit into a life raft and friendship into a superpower was exactly the kind of mad genius the galaxy needed.